What is the reason why you want to get into a relationship in the first place, right? Is it, because you really want to find this romantic love, or is it just maybe because you want to feel better about yourself, or maybe you're looking for a hot girl to have sex with? This is Mike Sigula from TruthTheory.com, and welcome to another episode of True Spirituality. This is my series on metaphysics, esotericism, mysticism, and spirituality. And today we're going to talk about relationships. So when we think about why so many people stay single for a very long time, many people will say something like, it's really hard to find the right partner. And this is true, I agree completely, but what many people aren't aware of is that there are all these different laws and rules that can affect our relationships when the right conditions are present to attract the right partner, etc. So this is what we're going to talk about today. So I think that nothing is an accident in our lives. Everything is based on some kind of attraction, causality, cyclical nature of time, etc. So let me say that we're going to talk about things in a very broad sense, right? Every case is unique, and there are many more laws and rules that can apply to relationships. So this is I'm generalizing here, right? So the very first thing is something what many people call divine timing. So as with anything meaningful in life, often the right conditions need to be present for something greater to manifest. And what I've noticed is that these really aligned relationships sometimes might happen once in many years, sometimes even once in a lifetime. So think about, for example, how many very, very, very good close friends you have, and how many people you meet every year, and how many people become your very good close friends. We might meet loads of people, and only once in a while we're gonna meet someone who is gonna be like a really good fit, and we're gonna stay friends with for a long period of time. So the same thing happens with romantic relationships, It seems like there are all these different potential options everywhere we look, but actually to really have conditions present to attract the right person, this happens once, sometimes in a long periods of time. And another really important thing is that everything is basically cause and effect, and we go through different cycles in life. So same way like you have 4 seasons, or you have night and day, we go through cycles. Your life also has different cycles. Sometimes when these cycles culminate, or a cycle ends, or there's some peak activity, the conditions to meet the right person appear, right? So let me give you an example of one of these cycles. So for example, in numerology, you go through these cycles of 9 years, right? And every person has something called life path number, right? So life path number is basically like your astrological sign, more or less, right? So how do you calculate the life path number? This is really simple. You can either just type in Google life path number calculator, and you give your date of birth, and it gives you a single digit number, or you can just calculate it yourself. So let me quickly show you how we can do it based on my date of birth. So I was born on 11th of December 1982, right? So you basically add every single digit together and you reduce it to 1 digit. So let's start with the day of birth, 11th, right? So what you do, you just add 1 plus 1 and you have 2. Okay, now the second number is the month, which is 12. So you add 1 plus 2, and that's 3, right? And then you have a year, and it's 1982. So again, you add every single digit together. So you have 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 2. That's 20. So now you have all these different numbers, which is 2, 3, and 20. You add it all together, you end up with 25. And now you reduce that to a single digit. So you have 2 plus 5, that's 7. So this is how you calculate your life path number. You just basically add every single digit together of your date of birth, and then you reduce that to a single digit. I hope this is not too complicated and I'm explaining this well enough, but if it's not really clear, then you just type in your search engine life path number calculator, put your date of birth, and you're gonna get your life path number, right? Okay, so my life path number is 7, right? And each number has some kind of characteristics. And you can read online about these characteristics. It's a little bit like your zodiac sign. Now, what it means is that in the year I was born, 1982, I was in my 7th year, right? Because my number is 7. So in 1983, I was in my 8th year. In 1984, I was in my 9th year, and then the cycle repeats again. So in 1985, I was in my 1st year again. 1986, I was in my 2nd year, etc. Right? So this is how you calculate your individual 9-year cycle based on your life path number. What it means is that, for example, in 2002, I was in my 9th year. Then in 2011, I was in my 9th year, and now in 2020, I was in my 9th year again. And very often, when you are around your 9th year or 1st year of a new cycle, 9th year is like a peak of everything that's been going on for the last 9 years. So this is, for example, around this period when a lot of conditions are happening where things culminate. It could be some important events happening in your life, meeting the right partner, someone who's more aligned. And in my case, it worked really well because, for example, based on my example, we can see it pretty clearly. So in 2002, I was 19 at the time. What happened in that year was that I actually finished high school. My life changed completely. I met partner that we stayed together for 3.5 years. We moved abroad together. That was like a really very big year for me when many things shifted. And then in 2011, when I was in my 9th year again, the same thing happened. This is when I started TruthTheory. This is when I met my very important partner. She became like someone important in my life. So same thing, right? These major things can peak often around when the cycle culminates. And this is just an example. There are many cycles, Sometimes when these cycles overlap, you actually have these peak activities as well. So this is just an example how these things can work. And every case is different. Doesn't mean that every single person, when they're in their 9th year, they're gonna just manifest that perfect relationship. But this is one of the different factors that actually can be linked to that. Okay, so another really important area is your state of being, basically. And someone told me once, don't try to attract this perfect partner, become the version that will attract this perfect partner, right? So some people might think that, they are not lucky enough because they don't go to the right parties or mix with right people or use the right dating app, whatever it is, right? And they think that the more they're gonna look, they're gonna change the environment, people, parties, whatever, that's when things gonna happen, when they're gonna manifest, when they're gonna find the right partner. So actually what sometimes happens is that these people have these expectations about what kind of person they want to attract, but they themselves are not really matching these expectations. So I like to use this word imbalance and to describe what I'm gonna talk about here. And we often have some kind of imbalance, right? Some kind of area where we need to work on. So let me give you an example of what I mean. So I know someone who used to be very negative, complaining all the time, always focusing on problems, always talking about problems. And she attracted a guy who had problems with drinking, who was a womanizer. And you might think that these two are not related in any way, shape or form, right? But actually, because she has a form of imbalance that she needs to work on, she attracts someone who also has a form of imbalance that he needs to work on. And they might seem not related, but actually they are form of the same kind of frequencies. Now, what's interesting is that he didn't like the fact she was complaining. She didn't like the fact that he was a womanizer who was abusing alcohol. So sometimes what happens is that you keep looking, and you attract all these people who don't seem to fit or have some issues, and you think, oh, this is their problem. But actually, first you need to heal yourself, fix yourself a little bit before you can actually attract the right person. And again, this is, there are all these different rules and laws, so we're talking very broadly here. So another important area is that we often do create these interference patterns. So, for example, you have goal, I want to have a romantic monogamous relationship, meet that perfect partner, but actually your actions are kind of conflicting. They're creating some kind of contradictory outcome. So you might think, okay, my dream is to attract this perfect partner, right? But what I'm doing is actually something completely opposite. So I feel like, if I can't find the right partner, I'm just gonna have a random sex maybe, or open relationships because, it's better than nothing or whatever, right? But actually what happens is now, the more you do one thing, the more you start attracting more of the same, right? So if you are, having random sex, you might actually start attracting more of partners who want that. So you are actually creating this conflicting signal of what you really want because you're doing something opposite. Same thing could be with watching pornography. You still put intentions on sex with many partners, even though you don't do it, but you kind of put that intention, energy, and it's not necessarily linked to that clear romantic relationship. So that's why it's really important that your intentions are aligned and clear, and you do things that are also linked and aligned with your intentions. And another very important thing is that what are your fundamental desires and intentions, why you want to attract this person? Because very often this can actually determine the outcome of your relationship. So what is the reason why you want to get into a relationship in the first place, right? Is it, because you really want to find this romantic love, or is it just maybe because you want to feel better about yourself, or maybe you're looking for a hot girl to have sex with? We have a lot of these different intentions that are actually, again, like a form of a blueprint that's going to attract the person, that's going to match the intention. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's say you have a guy who is a little bit superficial, and for this guy, what's important is look, right? So he wants to attract a girl that is very good looking, and maybe he's not like really that good looking, but that's like an important thing for him, right? So what might happen, because these intentions are a little bit superficial, he's gonna attract a girl that's also gonna have superficial intentions towards him, and she might be interested in money only, right? So let's say the guy has money. So now the glue, the fundamental energy that holds this relationship together is based around money. Now let's say he's losing his job, his business is not going well, he has some financial trouble. The glue, the fundamental energy holding this relationship together is not there. She might just disappear, she might leave, because now he's not fulfilling her desire. So this is something to keep in mind. And once we have these superficial intentions, or whatever intention you have, this can create the result, right? We might be attracting the same kind of people over and over because of our intentions. And again, like I said, I'm generalizing here. Every case is unique, and these are some kind of general rules. Okay, so let me know what you think about this video. If you're single or you've been single for a long time, tell us what are the reasons, what do you think, why people stay single for a long time. And another thing is that if you are going through some of these challenges yourself, and maybe it's to do with finding the right partner, maybe it's to do with some kind of challenges you have in your relationship, some patterns that seem to be occurring over and over, you know, the same kind of people you attract, or some challenges linked to relationships and dating. I'm actually doing now one-to-one coaching. So initial consultation is free of charge. We do coaching online, so it's through video calls. And if you're interested, just reach out to me. You can go to truththeory.com/coaching and check out different options there. Look at personal development coaching and just send me an email, no obligation. Initial session is free of charge. Maybe I will be able to help somehow. And thanks for checking this video. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. If you are interested in understanding more about metaphysics, spirituality, check out other episodes of True Spirituality. And till next time.